Good morning, Bimblers. And you join me in Northwich. The third time we've been to Northwich, but this time we're heading off to somewhere called Cuddington, the long way. So let's stop messing about. Let's bimble.
Washed in clean by a riverside. They told you the news. Kept so cold in the blackest.
This is the Church of St Helena in Northwich. It's the parish church around here, and the oldest bits of it go back to the 14th century. It was originally built as a chapel of ease for St Mary's Church in Great Budworth, which is a massive schlep up a great big hill, not what you need on a Sunday morning. Since it was built in 1300 and odd, it's obviously had a few alterations. They added the tower in 1498. That was added by a fella called Thomas Hunter, who apparently built a lot of Norton Priory. By Victorian times, it needed a little bit of an MOT. In steps Edward Graham Paley again, with his mate Hubert Austin. Tarted it up lovely. It's grade 1 listed these days. Around the back of the church you'll find a cemetery. That's called Witton Cemetery. And according to the local newspaper around here in Northwich, they've been having some issues with some badgers digging sets underneath some of the graves. I mean, they would hang around in graveyards, wouldn't they, badgers? They're all black and white, they look a bit goth, don't they? I think it would be rather nice if a badger cuddled up to you, while you're in your coffin. Sounds like a nice way to spend your afterlife, doesn't it? One of the graves of note here at Witton Cemetery is the grave of Robert Westall. He was a children's author. He's the fella that wrote The Machine Gunners. Did you read that in school? And watch the BBC drama? Well, Robert Westall, he wrote that. Where are we going now?
If only you knew. I've heard what they've said, ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, no, they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Left too long in the passing time. You know what you know to be true. Dim-lit scenes of a better life.
And so, Bimblers, we've crossed over the River Dane and we've come to the River Weaver, or the Weaver Navigation as I should say. Also crossing over the Dane and the Weaver is the Weaver Railway Viaduct, built in 1860, 900 metres long, 20 metres up in the air with 36 spans. I would love to know who designed it, but that piece of information eludes me. It also eludes historic England, even though it is grade 2 listed. But all of that is just in the background. We're here at Hunt's Locks here on the Weaver Navigation. This would have been designed to get all that delicious salt out of Northwich and into the Irish Sea. And the fella who designed it would have been Edward Leader Williams, the chief engineer of the Weaver Navigation, and eventually the chief engineer of the Manchester Ship Canal. But the story of the Weaver Navigation goes back further than Edward Leader Williams, back to 1720, when an Act of Parliament was put through called the River Weaver Navigation Act of 1720. Not a very imaginative name. Basically what that said is you could do whatever you wanted to the River Weaver as long as it benefited trade and made rich fellas even richer. Anyway, Bimblers, there's more railway viaducts and more locks just down there. That's Bimble.
Spoken in loud tones to you. Well, I've heard what they've said, ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they will turn it round. Smiles, but they will turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. To the bad times forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news.
If you're looking at railway viaducts, you have to look at the big name players in the field, don't you? Isambard Kingdom Brunel with the Royal Albert Bridge, George Stephenson with the Sankey Viaduct, or his son Robert Stephenson with the Britannia Bridge going over the Menai Straits. You could also look at one of George and Robert Stephenson's colleagues, Joseph Locke. He's the fella that designed this railway viaduct. Not only that, he designed Lancaster Railway Station and the Lancaster and Carlisle Railway that it was built to serve. He also designed sections of the Grand Junction Railway, and it was his idea to have a station in Crewe. I mean, he could have put it closer to the town centre, but you can't have everything. Joseph Locke was born in Sheffield, but at age 5, he moved to Barnsley. His father was the manager of a colliery, and that's where he met George Stephenson. George Stephenson used to tend to the steam engines in the colliery. He was a fireman, but he was rather precocious for a coal miner. He went to evening classes, and eventually he designed the Stockton and Darlington Railway. When he'd finished that, George and his son Robert Stephenson headhunted Joseph Locke. They knew that he was a clever chap, you see. George and Joseph didn't always get on. In fact, Joseph Locke was quite critical of some of George Stephenson's designs. And on more than one occasion, when George Stephenson had thrown all of his toys out the pram and stormed off, Joseph Locke would be left to finish the job. That's what happened on the Liverpool to Manchester Railway, the world's first intercity railway, you know, the one with the Sankey Viaduct. George Stephenson got rather miffed, and he left it up to Joseph Locke to get over something called Chat Moss, which was a peat bog in between Lee and Earlham. But Joseph Locke managed it, and he also managed to design this railway viaduct. Let's Bimble.
Big plans are easiest to make. Aim for the stars, it's yours, just wait.
Well, Bimblers, this is Vale Royal Locks, our last set of locks that we're going to visit today. Another set designed by Edward Leader Williams. Well, this set of locks had a life before Edward Leader Williams. There would have been a wooden set of locks installed here in 1732, and the oldest surviving locks here at Vale Royal are now the sluice gate. They would have been installed in 1791 and they were designed by a fella called John Johnson. The biggest set of locks were actually only installed in 1889 and they were designed by a fella called Lionel Berry Wells. Wells, let's bimble.
Told me I don't care if it's yours or mine. Without you it's just a waste of time. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. Could be ours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down. Though some get lost along the way, as sure as night designed the day. As long as I'm allowed to say, it's my heart that told me I don't care, you just disagree. Without you it wasn't meant to be. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be ours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you I don't care, you can say what you like. I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be ours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down. From the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be ours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down.
Where we are right now, Bimblers, is called the Whitegate Way. It's a cycle path these days, but originally it would have been the Winsford and Over Branch Railway line, another disused railway line for us to ride our bikes down. It started out as a bill being put through Parliament by the West Cheshire Railway Company. They'd already opened one line going between Chester and Manchester. That's the one that we came in on today. You know, the one going through Delamere and Northwich, going on to Manchester and then to Stockport and Manchester Airport. They proposed a new branch line going from Winsford to Cuddington, which would pick up all the salt from the salt works. Salt is still big business here in Northwich, but at that time it would have been absolutely huge. They still mine out the salt for us to grit the roads, and they have something called deep store now, which is cold storage under the ground, where they keep government records and Laura Ashley samples, things like that, all in the big cavities left by the salt mining. In the time it took to get the bill through Parliament and open the railway, the West Cheshire Railway Company have become part of the Cheshire Lines Committee. We spoke about them in the past. By the 1st of July 1870, the line was open to passengers and freight. But the good times didn't last that long. The 20th century came along and we all stopped buying as much Cheshire salt. We still bought it to salt our paths in the ice and put on the roads, but we weren't eating it. We were getting table salt via chemical process, loads cheaper. In the 1930s they stopped the passenger services because there weren't as many workers going to the salt mines. In 1963 they stopped general goods going via freight down the line. And by 1967 they stopped taking the salt on the railways and started taking it on lorries. So the whole railway line closed. But luckily for us, in 1969 Cheshire County Council bought it and made it into a lovely linear park for us to cycle down. For my next feat of extraordinary bimbling, I'm going to cycle the whole length of it, the whole of the Whitegate Way, possibly stopping for a cup of tea in the cafe if it happens to be open. Let's bimble.
Maybe it didn't work at the time, maybe it never did. A mistake that made the distance, or a trying way to live. Maybe it's the time that you grabbed at my arms and electricity flowed from my shoulders to palms in a white hot glow, leaving white cold scars left bare and unshowed just to prove they were ours. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it didn't work at the time, maybe it never did. A novelty improvement left lonely as it gives. Or maybe it's the time that you closed both your eyes and you pouted your lips as you waited for.
Well, Bimblers, it's shut. Shuts at 3 o'clock and it's 3:30. It takes a long time to film these bimbles. So I'll have to wait until I get home to have a cup of tea. I don't even think we've got any mince pies in. But this is Whitegate Station. It's time for us to get a wriggle on, to get to Cuddington Station before it goes dark. Let's bimble.
Maybe it didn't work at the time, maybe it never did. A novelty improvement left lonely as it gives. Or maybe it's the time that you closed both your eyes and you pouted your lips as you waited for mine in the soft red glow of your soft cold arms. Serotonin burnt holes through my veins to my heart. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it's the time that I wanted to say that my limbs won't move more than 2 feet away from your day glow side luminescent sparks. I could burst into flames from one beat from your heart. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. And I quite like how it is.